Thank you to all the witnesses. I know you're all busy people. Appreciate your time here today. What I've gleaned from the hearing so far is that companies set up Global Alliance for Responsible Media out of common sense, out of business sense, out of the bottom line decisions, and not essentially about ideology. And I suspect many big corporations would advertise on hard right websites if it made business sense. But it doesn't oftentimes make business sense, and that's why companies make a different decision, and some of my colleagues are having a very difficult time accepting that. In the real world, most people, and I talk to constituents a lot, are very skeptical of conspiracy theories. They do not want to be on divisive platforms generally. They tend to unplug from news media generally right now because of the partisanship. They shy away from hate speech. They don't want to be fully engaged day to day on divisive partisan politics. And it follows that people get a negative impression of brands that are associated with that content. This is my understanding from everything that I've heard here today. This is at the heart of what you're talking about in terms of brand safety. So we can't help that there are conservative corners of the web that are rife with hate speech and misogyny and, yes, some disinformation. And it's simply a fact that companies operating in the free market have to contend with that. They have to make decisions about the situation that they're confronted with. And as others have pointed out, I do think there is some hypocrisy at work here when my colleagues claim to care so passionately about the free market, except when it tilts away from decisions that companies are making against posting advertisement on particular platforms that they think are not helping their bottom line. So, Mr. Patel, thank you so much for your time today. Why did Unilever decide to join GARM? Can you just take us through that quickly?
Well, firstly, Unilever created the responsible framework in 2018 because there was a need to have safe content with social media platforms. Then in 2019, GARM was built from 12 advertisers, 6 multimedia sites, social platform sites and agencies. And that was because they needed some sort of structure to say, how would we define brand safety? And that's how the GARM was born. It was voluntary, and it's up to the social media houses to decide on what content is uploaded and not.
I appreciate that. And you said it was based in need. Can you just flesh out for us when you say the need? What was that need?
The need was for advertisers to make sure how would we have a safe place for our brands to be adjacent to content that we thought would be right for our consumers.
And so there are risks to brands. And could you just give us one example of what that looks like when a decision is being made about your product and where it's placed? How does that potentially risk your brand?
Well, an example would be, the Dove brand that's for 20 years has supported real beauty in the US would be next to content that would be harmful to shaming body shapes, which is not what the brand stands for.
And you mentioned that, I believe you said that 75% of your $850 million ad budget is directed towards women in particular.
Yeah.
And so does advertising on parts of the web that feature hate, prejudice, misogyny help you sell your products to women?
No.
Right? No.
No.
No. No. Because I can speak here as a member of this committee. I can also speak here as a woman.
Or do you?
No. Right? And so we have lost the thread here on the common sense. And I think we have to cut through all of the posturing here. Why would you want your brand next to speech that potentially is discriminatory towards women if most of your market that you're trying to sell to is women? Mr. Jewell, in your testimony, you describe an apolitical, industry-wide preference to advertise on sports and entertainment sites instead of news? Briefly, can you explain once again why that is?
It's similar to what Mr. Patel just said. We want to avoid divisive conversations and places where you have poor brand association.
I really appreciate that. And in conclusion, I would just like to say this is something that we all should take to heart, that the divisive partisanship and the fear-mongering is not serving the nation. It's also not serving our economy. Thank you.